Hi everyone. Here's another little reading from my book, The Reason to Write, about my writer's journey. This piece is called The Quiet American. I have a lot to say about writers and writing, about agents and publishers, about the way it is and the way it could and should be. As anyone who's had the misfortune of sitting next to me at a dinner party knows, I can rant on for hours, venting strong views, like scolding jets shot from a geyser. I suspect my fellow dinner guests imagine my opinions were dreamt up that very day, but they weren't. Like a baton passed from one generation to the next, the way I understand authorship was laid down over an entire century. One of the earliest memories I have is being 6 years old, sent from the playroom down to one of the formal salons at our home in the English countryside at Langton House. The Durbar was the former billiard room, dating to the time when Robert Baden-Powell, founder of the Boy Scouts, grew up in the same house that I did. Sweeping in, dressed in a flowing 1970s kaftan, my mother ordered me to be on my best behaviour, a phrase that meant sitting up ramrod straight and speaking only when spoken to. To me, best behaviour meant being trussed up in a tight oriental costume and having my hair brushed very roughly indeed. But most of all, it meant someone important was about to arrive. On that day, when I was 6, an American gentleman strolled in through the front door. I remember him more for what he was not rather than what he was. He was not loud, he was not brash, and he was not ostentatious, like the other best behaviour guests often were. Rather, he was exceedingly soft-spoken, gentle and kind. When he left, my father exclaimed he was a truly great man. I asked who he was. "He's a writer, darling." "What's his name?" "Mr. Salinger." "Does he write children's books?" I asked. "He writes for everyone," my father replied. "At the same time, he writes for himself." "Why does he write?" My father considered the question, his brow furrowing as he did so. "Mr. Salinger writes because he must write," my father said. "He can't help it. He can't stop." "Baba, what would happen if Mr. Salinger stopped writing?" I asked. "If Mr. Salinger stopped writing, he would turn to stone," my father said. It's from The Reason to Write.